Hi, I'm Debbie Hill, and we have Jen Freeland with me, who is going to talk today with our Lunch and Learn, and we are going to talk about fun in the sun and how you can keep yourselves hydrated and protected from all the UV rays and all the stuff out there that harms us, but get good, healthy sun and energy and vitamin D and all that good stuff. So I'm going to start off, I guess. I don't know if all of you know, with Young Living, we not only have essential oils, but we products made with essential oils. And one of the biggest things is our sunscreen, which I left downstairs. We have sunscreen. Did you all know that we have sunscreen? Give me a yay, thumbs up if you knew we had sunscreen. And who uses sunscreen? Who uses Young Living sunscreen? Okay, cool. So, so that's one product that we all need, especially down here in South Florida. And I think Jen has had actually even better results with the sunscreen than I really have. My kids were like saying, it's so thick. So I was curious to hear what Jen had to say about the sunscreen. If you want to jump in, Jen, and give us your take.
Sorry, I was trying to, some people are trying to go to the old link, so I was trying to
shoot, do you want me? Are you good?
I think we're good. All right, so, all right, yes. So we have two different SPFs, so that sun protection factor that we have going on. So just a little like preface, there are a couple trains of thought when it comes to sunscreen. A lot of times people think that sunscreen can actually be more harm than good. Some think that it's not needed, right? That our bodies are able to build up the ability to protect itself from the sun. And both are kind of right. So for one, when you have conventional sunscreens, right? Not talking about Young Living, most of them have chemicals in them that are actually very damaging to our skin and our immune system. You hear the term hormone disruptors. So they come in and they alter things in our chemistry, right? And then it causes a chain reaction of damage. So sometimes those damages can be seen right away, right? In the sense of like somebody getting like a chemical burn from a topical product. And sometimes they can't be seen for a long time. Meaning, you start to have all these like autoimmune type flare-ups, symptoms, and things like that, and you're chasing this rabbit trail to figure out, where did this start? Where did this begin? So over time, most people experience that over time damage, right? So the sun in and of itself has good properties, right? It gives us vitamin D. It provides stimulation in our brain for our emotions. Like, we need that sunlight. You've heard of seasonal depression, that comes when we're deprived of that. But it also has the damaging rays that we're trying to block out, right? Those ultraviolet rays. So when those come in, penetrate the skin, they can cause their own damage. The most obvious one being a sunburn, right? And that's very uncomfortable if you've ever experienced that. So I'm a Florida native. I've grown up here my whole life. And I have skin that burns very easily. Like, I blink at the sun and I am burned. So I have to be a little bit more careful. Now, it is true in the train of thought of little bits of exposure to the sun, you can train your body to build up more of that melanin in your skin tone, right? So we've got all different skin colors, right, on the spectrum. And sometimes people think the darker, the more pigment that you have, like in a black or brown pigment of skin, therefore, I don't need sunscreen, right? Because the sun doesn't affect me. But the damaging rays are still affecting your skin, and our skin's our largest organ. So you may not burn as easily as I do, but it still is causing the damage. And those skin cancers are not, they don't care what color you are. This skin cancer can affect anybody, male, female, whatever color, whatever race, anything like that, right? It does not discriminate whatsoever. So when we're talking about protecting our skin, we want to be cautious and careful of what we're putting on our skin, because we don't want what we're putting on our skin to protect us from the damaging rays to be worse, or, like another layer of junk, right? So in our traditional products. There's just a lot of them. I'm not going to go through all of them. You can do your own research and figure out what's good and what's not. I'm going to focus on what is in our products that make them effective and safe. So we've got either the SPF 10, and then they came out with 50. So that sun protection factor, what that means is if you typically have a burn rate of like, say 5 minutes, right? You're out in the sun and within 5 minutes, you're already, sorry, Cindy said, isn't 10 being discontinued? It might be, because honestly, the 50, I was going to point out that if you're getting it, you may as well get the 50 because of the sun protection factor. So with a 10, or just in general, if you're looking at different sun protection factors and think, well, why stop at 50? Why not do 100? At some point, they say like anything above like between 50 and 80, it's really overkill. But at that point, so if you have a burn rate of 5 minutes, what the SPF means is that it's going to cover you for 10 times that amount. So now you have 50 minutes of coverage, right? And right on here it says water resistant for up to 80 minutes. So especially when we're talking about natural products, right, that don't have all of these preservatives, that don't have these extra chemicals that extend shelf life and extend the ability for it to adhere to your skin, you're going to want to reapply more, okay? So with a product like this, if you, like when it's warm in the sun, it gets a lot like easier, like pliable. A little bit goes a long way. This is from last summer and I still have plenty left here to use for this summer. Like I haven't even reordered yet, but I'm going to want to soon because these start to sell out. It has a drug fact sheet on the back. So it has 22% zinc oxide, which is the main active ingredient. And then it has some other things in there as well that are protecting our skin. So that's where you're going to get, so when you put it on, it has that white is from the zinc oxide. So you are going to have to rub it in a little bit more. I remember when I was younger, we used to have to slather on all the sunscreen and I thought it was so annoying. And then they came out with these awesome bottles that just sprayed it right on you. And I thought that is genius and amazing. And I loved it. No clue how bad it was for me, aside from the fact that whenever I did it, I literally had to like hold my nose and not breathe, and not only not breathe while it was being sprayed on me because I'd be hacking up my lung. I had to like spray and move so that when it was done spraying, I was now into cleaner air so that I could breathe again, because I could not breathe when I was putting this on. And it would seriously still even hurt my nose and my brain afterward. No clue that it was like the actual aerosol from like the propellants in that were, you know, so bad for you. So 100% avoid any of those like propellant type sprays. Now there are bottles that you can get, and unfortunately I don't have one right here, but you can get off of Amazon and make this, you can do a DIY and take this and make it into like a spray type. So it's using like an air type pump versus a chemical propellant. So that's the difference there. So it just makes it a little bit easier, especially if you've got squirmy kids going on, or, you know, going around, all that. But that SPF 50, so now you're going to do 50 times whatever your personal burn rate is. I always tend on the reapplication a little bit, you know, it says like, okay, 80 minutes of waterproof, or, you know, 50 times 5 or whatever. I err on the side of like replying a little bit quicker. So you're going to want to keep in mind that you are going to be reapplying. You're supposed to be reapplying even with traditional kinds of sunscreen, but especially with something like this, because it doesn't have all that added junk that's going to help it to like really adhere to your skin and sit in there. And then another thing, so it's recommended by the Skin Cancer Foundation. So it has the big check, thumbs up from them, which is a huge thing. And then it's also reef safe. So more and more, you're going to see a lot more beaches and wildlife sanctuary type places that are going to be popping up and saying, hey, you can't wear X sunscreen at our beach if you're going to participate and go in the water. So when it's going in the water, in the ocean, right, we go in, we put suntan oil on, you lather yourself up with the Panama Jack and all the coconut, whatever, you know, infused fake smell. and then it's all just like floating on the water. If that is all sinking down and killing reef wildlife, think about yourself in your pool or in a community pool. And now, we're talking like an ocean, right? Like you put a few drops of stuff like in an ocean and it's still affecting wildlife like deep down in the ocean. Think about the concentration level then in like a community pool or your personal pool of all this stuff, because I mean, guys, let's be honest here. We all know we're not supposed to drink the water. We're not supposed to pee in the water. We're not supposed to do all the things. It still gets in your mouth. It gets in your eye. Like it gets on you. Okay. Like you don't want to think about it, but it does. So if it's killing wildlife, right, and then we're putting it all in our pool, or we're putting it just on our bodies in general, that's a little clue of like, hey, this might not be the best thing to put on yourself to protect yourself against cancer. Like it's fighting fire with fire, right? So that's another reason. So this is considered reef safe. So in Hawaii, especially, that's the one main one that I know of that they specifically have already laid down the law and said no more. I don't know if any of the other beaches have done this yet, but I know that's definitely coming. So I love that they've taken the time to look through that. All right, so what is up? What do you have next for us, Deb? Or do you want me to continue?
Well, I was gonna move on from the sunscreen to like after the sun.
Yeah.
And we have the Lavaderm cooling mist. Have you all used this? I think they just gave this away free just recently.
Yes, they did.
And this is really, really nice to use when you come off the beach or from the pool or even out bike riding or whatever activity you're doing outside, just to kind of, oh, you've got the new label on
This
yours.
is like the newer, so some of you may have the newer label and this is just the older label.
Okay. So this is great to use after the sun, just to kind of cool and soothe your skin. And it not only feels good, but it actually is helping it kind of bring it back to balance. Would you say the best way to put it? Do you use this a lot, Jen?
Yes, I do like this. I even like to keep this in the kitchen for like if you just, need like to cool off your fingertips. If you've burned them, you don't have your lavender handy. I make up an entire, I'm going to show you. I got one of these from Target. It came free if you bought, like, have you ever seen those at Target? If you bought like X amount of Johnson & Johnson products, which I don't buy their products, but they sell Band-Aids. So I bought like 3 boxes of Band-Aids and then I got this little travel kit free. And so I pack this when my daughter goes to camp or whatever. And so there's some Band-Aids in there and there's some other stuff in there. So one of them is that cooling spray. Another thing that this came in handy for was just to cool off her irritated skin when she was bit by a bee. So I was putting a lot of stuff on, but then I did this. I have like a little bag of like a little Rainbow Magic too that I carry a lot. This came in super handy. I happened to have it because I grabbed it because we were going to the beach and I was like, if you get overheated or you're on a bike ride or whatever, it's just nice to kind of just spray that mist over you. If you want a little bit more of like that cooling, tingly effect, adding peppermint oil to it would be helpful, or just adding a few drops of peppermint, spray it in your hand, add a few drops. So if you just want to do like a one time the back of your neck, it really does cool off your body. But I had this on hand when we were at the beach. We had been on the intercoastal side of the beach and we were doing this class and sifting through with nets and catching fish. And then afterward, we went to the actual beach side with my mother-in-law, and there were steps leading down to the sand. And then there was like a bit of sand before the water, and then there were all rocks. So we start going, and all of a sudden I get like, literally I get 2 steps in, the sand was the hottest I've ever felt it. And I didn't have shoes on, and cause I was just going to be like, whatever, like I've walked in hot sand before. I'll walk really quick to the wet part. I got 2 steps in and I could not even, I was like, it was so hot. So I quickly went, like walked back, literally like took my feet, like put that on, like cooled off my feet. I put my shoes on and I literally put the kids on my back and walked them over because I had sneakers And even with the sandals, the sand like coming in the side made it too hot to even walk with sandals on. That's how hot it was. So I put my kids on my back, walk over. My mother-in-law chose to stay at the steps. So I'm down there, we're looking down at the ground at seashells. And before I could even like say stop, Valerie had made it over the rocks, like she was exploring on the rocks. And she started to, you know, when the sand gradually goes from wet to drier, well, she was already like a few steps into the dry sand, which was the extremely hot sand. And before I could even, I was like, stop. She, in her brain, you could see on her face that she already was like, I'm in trouble. And she didn't even know what to do. And she just started screaming bloody murder. And she was like, ow, ow, like screaming at the top of her lungs. And now if you've ever tried to run with wet sneakers in wet sand, you can imagine how quickly I was getting to her. And in my panic of like, you know, you think it was like, I felt like it was like one of those like this, and I could not get there fast enough, and it was killing me because I'm like, this kid. So I was telling her, I'm like, come back to me, because it was too far to run the other way. I'm like, come back. And all she knew to do was just sit down. So now she's like burning her butt and her feet and her hands. And I'm like, blah! So like I get to her, I scoop her up, and I ran her to the water as quickly as I could. And I just sat her in the water, which she just hates any type of water like splashing in her face. She's screaming about that. And then I was like yelling out to Elena. I like told her to get my water bottle, fill up some more water, you know, and this is one of the first things I grabbed. So I grabbed this and I was spraying it all over her feet. When I got her like cool, you know, like helped enough, like I was taking her feet and literally putting them on my skin to help draw out the heat. And I just kept spraying it on. I was dumping on, I was whatever I had in my bag. I was like, open this for me, put this on, like dumping all the things. And so when we collected her, got back in the car, when I looked at the bottoms of her feet were already starting to try and create blisters from a few seconds on hot sand. Okay. So I can't even imagine like what her feet would have looked like in any longer. So anyway, I did the whole thing again. So this was like 10 minutes later. By the time we got back to the car, got in, applied all the things. And then when we got home, you couldn't even see all but 2 of the spots of the blisters. Like they'd already reabsorbed back into the skin. So having these products on hand is super important to have, like some kind of little travel emergency set or whatever, because when you're out and about and things pop up and you're like, man, that lavender would be really helpful, that Jen told me about, or whatever. Or so anything, you know, our products are so versatile that just getting something on as quick as you can is really important. So, you know, if you take the whole bottle, or if you take and make like tinier spray bottles, so that in case you lose this, you're not losing like the entire thing. I like to put them in smaller ones. I do this with the insect repellent as well, which is amazing. So you can take that insect repellent, you can use it full strength, you can take and dilute it down if that helps your budget. You can dilute it down and then add extra oils to it. There's so many things that you can do with these things. You can do DIYs with citronella and purification, which we used to do before we had a dedicated insect repellent. I love our insect repellent as is, so I don't really mess with it aside from and it lasts a long time. Like I put it down and I can stretch it and make it last, right? Okay, so that's my you need to have them on you story.
Yes. So, and if you don't have that, which is great to have, the lavender itself is great, and you can make a spray just like this with your lavender, and 10 drops, 20 drops of lavender and distilled water, and use that. And that's a great thing for actually really soothing your skin.
Yeah, you could even do witch hazel in there if you wanted to, which is another, like a natural cooling.
Yeah. And then for just cooling off in general, I have this as a peppermint spray. And this is great. You were talking about putting it on the back of your neck is awesome for like cooling yourself off, is the peppermint. So the lavender, I feel like it really helps with the skin when it's really sensitive after you've been out too long. And this is great for just cooling you down, and it works wonders, especially on your neck and your wrists. So, and again, you're not taking your bottle of peppermint with you. You're just putting some in here.
Right.
I like using the glass. They're a little heavier, but those little tiny glass bottles are great too if you're just packing those up.
Yeah. Kathy said that she likes the hydrosol for pain relief of burns. When she burned her finger while cooking hot oil, it was an instant pain relief. So I think you're talking about the Royal Hawaiian Sandalwood hydrosol, I'm assuming.
Yes,
but we
yes.
have that product. Yeah. So we have so many options for skin stuff, just as long as you have something close by to do that initial. And even if you go and follow up with something more intentional, at least you've got something there to help you to quickly fix that. Another thing that we have,
I don't know what hydrosol is.
the Royal Hawaiian Sandalwood Hydrosol, they started with that one. It's basically like the floral waters, like the extra waters that they have, that they started to sell in there. So it's like the floral waters. All right, so we also have a Lavaderm after sun spray, right? So there's the cooling mist and there's the after sun spray. So the cooling mist is a clear liquid, just, nice cooling effect. The after sun spray, and it's a itch relief as well. So it's a white material, kind of like has this, I don't know if I'm going to explain this right, but this is how it was explained, I think, at a convention, like a coagulation factor to it, similar to ketchup. So you know how ketchup, when you've got it's a liquid, but it's also a solid. It's like that in between, and when you shake it up, it kind of like gels up, but not like a full gel. It still has that in between. So it has that same kind of consistency. So when you shake it up and you spray it on, it's different than just the plain cooling mist liquid to it. So it's this white, like in between gel type feel to it. But it's amazing for after sun if you've gotten too much sun, if you're burned. It has that built-in cooling effect to it. And it's also really good for like itchy skin. So if you've come in contact, sometimes in the summer we're exploring more between bug bites and just brushing up against, different plants like poison oak and those kind of things. It really does create a nice soothing effect for any of that kind of like itching on the skin. And then as far as when we're in the summer, when we're in the in the summertime, we're outside more, we're either working out, laying out, gardening, whatever is going on, you're dehydrating a lot more. So we're going to want to up our water intake. So some ways that you can up your water intake, if you're not a big fan of drinking water and you like it to be flavored, a lot of times people reach for a soda, which is actually dehydrating because it increases your output of liquids. So it has properties in it that actually make you go to the bathroom more. It's a diuretic. So when you're specifically like at a barbecue, at a cookout, whatever, I'm not saying like don't ever drink a soda, but make sure that your water intake is definitely upped so that you don't dehydrate even further, especially, a lot of times people grab a few beers, super diuretic, right? So that's why a lot of times people end up passing out in the sun. So when you just want to be intentional and make sure that you're keeping that intake up so that you're not overheating, so that you're not passing out, those kind of things. So adding things like lemon, orange, like any of the citrus oils are really great. We have a new product called Vitality Drops. And aside from just making the water taste good, it remineralizes your body. It has a lot of electrolyte properties to it. They're really good. We also have a product called Sleek Essence, which is in the Sleek line of products that help to curb cravings and things like that, but it's just a water flavoring. It tastes really good. I like that one. And then two more, so peppermint and spearmint. So a lot of times now in Florida, you can use these interchangeably. It doesn't matter. It's always hot here. But in the north, what I've heard is that when you're adding peppermint, people like to use peppermint. Jeanette says this a lot in the summertime. And she switches to spearmint in the wintertime because she still likes that minty flavor, but it's not quite as cooling as spearmint. So in the wintertime, when she doesn't need her body temperature to be any cooler than the natural weather's already making it, she adds the spearmint in there just for the flavor. And then in the summertime, adds the peppermint in for the cooling of the body. And then the sleek, yes, the sleek does smell really good. I really like this one. It has a little bit of stevia in it too, so it's like a little sweetener. So you're gonna wanna shake it up because that does like settle back down out of there.
I wanted to just go back really quick to the insect repellent, how it comes like this. And what I've done is I put it in a little spray bottle. And I really like applying it like this because I feel like it comes out really fast and a little goes a long way. So I'll spray it on and then I'll rub it on. And I love the stuff. It really works. You know,
there's like, another, if you, yes, on Amazon, those packs of those sprayers that I was talking about, usually it comes in a 2-pack. So there's, if you look on like Wild Hacks or just Google Young Living hack with, so you can make the insect repellent into one of those like pump sprayers to make it easier. Or some people like to take the pumps from the massage oils and switch it and put it on the top of that so that it just comes out easier. So there's tons of different hacks and ways to make it easier to use.
Yes. Yeah, and it works great. And it's oil based. It has like a fatty oil in it, but it feels good. It doesn't feel sticky, and it's so much better than using any of those other things that you can find in stores that have all kinds of junk in them.
Yes, because so aside from the fact that just like the sunscreen, when you're spraying it on, when you spray off, like, oh my gosh, I can't even like be around like all that, the chemical propellants that are in that are just really toxic and really harsh on your respiratory system. You can even do something as simple as reusing an old bottle. So this was an old bottle of purification. I left the label on because I'm lazy usually with this. And I just take the top of this off, and then I ordered some of these pump sprays that you can get off of Amazon that fit right on top of the bottle, right? So this has insect repellent in it. So you can either do pre-made insect repellent, you can do DIY, whatever you want to do, and then you just pop this top on and spray and go. So that makes it really easy. And one other thing that I have in my little first aid kit is a little bit of either animal scents or rose ointment, so that if you do, like if you're out and about and somebody gets cut on some rocks at the beach, or you know gets whatever comes up, you know, we never know what's going to happen when we're out exploring or when we're at the beach, whether we're hiking, whatever. This is great for boo-boos. So this is like a really like this for us replaced anything like Neosporin, petroleum-based jellies, any type of like first aid creams. You know, my mom used to have this like spray that you sprayed it on, and she used to tell us like count to 5 because it burned like heck and it did not feel good. It smelled awful. And it's just so funny to me that like all the things that like, you know, you think like, oh, I'm gonna have to teach my kid to like, just sorry that this is hurting you really badly, but it's gonna be great. And now like I'm like, here, put this on, and it just feels good, right? And it just makes it feel better. But we keep this on hand. A little bit goes a long way with this as well. But it's a great thing to have on. So, and the reason why we ditched all those other products, like even Aquifer, that's one that my dermatologist used to recommend. Like I have a lot of moles and pre-skin cancers removed. And they would always say, here, keep it hydrated, right? Keep it sealed, put this on it. But what those products do, and a lot of, which brings me to even to my next trick to always keep on hand, is one of these lip balms. Even in the chapsticks or any of those topical petroleum-based jellies, what they do is they are actually have chemicals in them that pull moisture to the surface, right? To create that barrier, but it's pulling that out of you to create a barrier. But then once it's off, now you've dehydrated your skin even more. You've created it more dry, which then you're like, oh, quick, put more on. Oh, quick, put more on. Have you ever seen somebody who's like seriously like obsessed with their chapstick because they can't live without it, because their lips are so dry, because they put it on, it feels good, but then the moisture gets sucked out and then they're even more dry, and now they got to put more on. I've literally seen pictures too of like people with chemical burns from chapstick. So everybody's skin is different. So just because your skin isn't reacting to the same severity of their skin doesn't mean damage isn't being done, right? It just may not be, you've built up more tolerance. That's the way your genes are, whatever the case. But with this, the fact that Young Living does not have any petroleum-based products, petroleum is a gas product, byproduct. It's a gasoline byproduct. It's stuff that they noticed that started building up when they were drilling for gas. And they realized that when they put it on, like, oh, look, water spills off of this. Like, it's a great sealant. Seemed good at the time, but it's a gasoline byproduct. So it's a very high carcinogen. So using something like this that has like beeswax, coconut oil, like, you know, the lavender, like all those things are actually moisturizing, nourishing, sealing in those, the body's natural barrier and protectant, and aiding in that is a much better choice. So
yeah, I love those. Those are great. My whole family uses those. They're really, really good. And I think it's during the holidays, you do the 4-pack with the vanilla
yes.
in one, which is really nice.
Yes, Cindy's holding up hers. I get a ton. So yes, it comes in lavender, cinnamon, grapefruit, and then in the winter pack, vanilla mint, which is a fun extra. We keep my kids call it Boo Boo Stick, which if you've ever heard her funny video, you're laughing to yourself right now. But she couldn't say stick when she was younger, and the ST got removed and replaced with a D. So it always makes me laugh. But seriously, like, she would just ask for this all, you know, like she's always, you know, getting, you know, as she's learning to walk, fall, bump. Yes. Oh my gosh, that video was too much if you saw it. All right. So another like lesser known, lesser thought of idea in summertime, we always think like sunscreen bug spray, right? But there's more to it. So when you're packing up and you're ready to go off on an adventure, aside from our sunscreen bug spray, what are some in water? What other things do we pack?
Snacks.
Snacks. Yes. So when you think of Young Living, do you think like, ooh, snacks? Probably not right off the top of your head, right? You're thinking, you know, most people just think oils, but we have a lot of fun snacks that are really easy to grab. So the first one is the einkorn granola. So you can just grab a whole bag of this and just pop it open, and who cares if they finish the whole bag? You can make it into little individual baggies if you needed to, or you know, reusable containers, whatever works for you.
My son loves that.
Yeah, and you can even take and turn this into a fun trail mix. So you can add nuts to it, a few fun, you know, M&Ms or whatever you want to do, chocolate chips, to make it even more fun. It's really great. We like to eat it, you know, sometimes in the breakfast, or you can add it to yogurt for a parfait. You can do a lot of fun things with it. Sometimes Patrick even puts it in his smoothie. Another thing that I like to bring is Ninja Red. So speaking of that hydration, replacing what's lost, this is a great, you can even put this in the freezer and turn it into a slushie, zip it open, stick a straw in it. And who calls it? Dr. Jim Bob, I think, calls it like their nature's high C or something like that. I don't know, something like that. And then the other one are these new protein bites. Have any of you had these?
No, I haven't.
It's like a lavender lemon, I want to say. Lemons. Anyway, they're good. They are good. So it's just like a small little bite, but it's packed with like a lot of good protein. So a quick, like, I know for me, I get really shaky if I don't eat, aside from like the hangriness, I get really shaky, like low blood sugar. So having quick things like that, and these are awesome too, to just keep in your purse, because it doesn't need to be refrigerated. You can just keep it in your purse, and that way if you're out and you need something quick, it's also an easy way for, you know, if you're trying to watch what you're eating and make healthier choices, it's a lot easier to just grab one of these versus, you know, a candy at the checkout aisle, right? So that can help there. Somebody is asking, blueberry lemon. Yes, thank you. And the wolfberry bars. Yes, they even have the chocolate covered ones. The Sleek line has a bar too that has like nuts in it. I really like them. I really like the Sleek bars. It's like all these little nuts and dried, probably wolfberries. I don't even know. You should probably know, but they're good. And my kids like them too. So I always have like something like that just stuck in case just somebody is just starving and they're about to die until I can get them food.
Sounds good. So now that I have to try some of those, I haven't had a sleep bar and a wolfberry in a while, and I want to try those lemon. I can see my order. I can tattling up in my head. Okay, those are going on my order this month, and I'm on my last bottle of Ninja. So
Yeah, my
yep.
mom and dad love these. They order like 5 packs a month.
Wow.
My dad is out, you know, doing jobs and on roofs and all these, you know, like it's just like a quick thing that he can keep in his pocket too. And
good to know. I'm unaware of those things. And also one of the things we're bringing up, especially now with being stuck at home, we're always trying to get out and exercise and do our thing. The Amino Wise. Has anybody used the Amino Wise? This stuff's great. This is, would you say it helps replenish your whole body after you've been working out and exercising. And my daughter's really been into exercising a lot, and her muscles have just been really hurting her. And at the beginning, she was like, I don't know about that stuff. And now she's reaching for it herself. In fact, it's just about empty. This is going on my list again. But it just really helps recover from all the exercise and build your system back up. So this is Amino Wise. It's a powder. You put a little scoop. I think it says 2 scoops in. It's really kind of almost berry tasting. It's good tasting.
Yeah, it's a wolfberry lemonade.
Yeah, so you want to give your little spiel, but I love this and my daughter loves it. I put it in my regular water instead of just drinking it straight down. My daughter kind of says, okay, she wants to just get it done and just puts it in and drinks it down. I put it in and just drink it all day because it tastes good to me. So the Amino
I think it tastes really good too, especially for what it is. So if some of you were on our call the other night, we did a Zoom into the unknown, and this is one of the products that came up that people wanted to learn a little bit more about. So I'll just briefly touch on it. But it has what's called branched chain amino acids in it. So if you're familiar with that, so both Debbie and I are licensed in massage therapy. And so when, you know, if you go in and have a massage afterward, if your therapist is good, they're going to tell you, hey, make sure you drink a lot of water, because as you've done and broken down things in the body, you've created a lot of lactic acid buildup, and you've got a lot of things that need to flush out of your body. So one, it's to flush out the toxins. And then a product like this is going to help not only flush those out, but replace back in, flush out all that's not needed, so that whether it's from, you know, like a massage and you know, have like a deep tissue work done, or you're building up and breaking down muscles from working out, or you're just, you know, like aches and pains, like normal everyday life stuff. It's really a supplement for everybody. So don't think of it just as like a bodybuilder or like I'm, you know, like a crazy workout person, because I'm clearly not. But I love this product. And also it replaces electrolytes. So you can do like a DIY. If you type in Don't Mess with Mama, she has like DIY electrolyte drink. So replacing the need for like Gatorades, which are just a lot of unnecessary junk in there, aside from like the food coloring, which I try to avoid as much as possible. There are other options, but you can do DIYs. But the wolfberry lemonade flavor, I think, is really good too. If you don't like it, like Debbie's daughter does, you can put just a little bit, just put a little bit of water, mix it together, and do a shot, right? If you do enjoy it like Debbie and Cindy, and you want that extra flavor in your water, add a scoop to your water bottle. But those branched chain amino acids help. So if you are sore, right, and you've worked out, have you ever felt like the next day, any type of working out, right? Even if you just decided, you know what, I'm gonna do 2 push-ups or sit-ups or whatever, and you've used muscles that you're not used to using, usually the next day you're like, whoo, hello muscles. And sometimes you're like, I can't even, it's hard for me to put my hands over my head. So what this product does is it helps to remove all of that lactic acid buildup, so that you can move freely. You're still going to feel like, wow, I feel good. Like I'm getting stronger, but you're not feeling that overwhelming, like, oh my gosh, I can't move my body. So you can do this you You can do this post, you can do this all day. It just depends on what your goals are. So if you're somebody who is very actively and intentionally active and doing a lot of high intensity workouts, you're probably going to want to do a pre, during, post, right? And if you're just somebody who's just overall just supporting your overall health, maybe a scoop a day in your water. Another product that you can do that same thing with is sulfurzyme. It comes in capsules or powder. I like the powder because it has an added prebiotic factor to it. And then I like to make what's called a red drink. So I especially like to make this in the summertime when I'm out and about and I'm really trying to like be conscious of our water intake, because we are in Florida, just that little bit of in and out, you know, in the sun, it's very easy to get super dehydrated. So you take a scoop of this. Like I like to just take an empty Ningxia Red bottle. I put a scoop of this in there. I put either, you can just empty one of these packets into there, or if you've got the bottle, 2 ounces in there, and then a few drops of lime, and shake it up and then drink that. It's called, if you want to look it up, Dr. Minke, M-I-N-K-E's red drink, and you'll see, or you can Google unicorn drink with Ningxia Red and the recipe will come up. You personally think sulfurzyme tastes horrible? And you have to put it in your Ningxia down, chug it down. So everybody like has a different thing. Have you ever tried it with the Ningxia with the lime?
Yeah.
You have, and you still think it tastes horrible? Okay, I'm gonna tell you what my kids think it tastes like. Have you ever, so, whatever. Have you ever taken a bowl of Fruity Pebbles and you pour the milk in it, and afterward, like the milk that's left over and you drink it, and all like the like fake fruit flavor? It tastes like that to us. It tastes like Fruity Pebble drink. I don't even know. It tastes good to me. So it like reminds me of being a kid. And my kids made me go. I went to Aldi. They have like a fake Fruity Pebbles that does not have the food coloring in it. At least artificial food coloring. So anyway, they made me like go and get that for, because when I told them what it tasted like to me, they like had no clue what I was talking about, because I don't buy that for them. But I got it as a treat, and they're like, "You're right, it does taste like that. It's good." So everybody's taste buds are different. If you don't like the way something tastes, put it in a much smaller amount, or these do come in capsules that you can just swallow, no problem, or you can put this into a capsule. But do a much smaller amount in the water and then just chug it and follow it up with something else. I'm sure all of you, maybe at some point in your life, have done some sort of shots. Just, it's a non-alcoholic shot for you right there. They do, so the capsule does not have the prebiotic factor to it. All the other effects are the same as far as, so sulfur is a mineral that most people are deficient in. We used to get it in natural things like our food. When our food grew in the soil, it would pull in sulfur and we just get it that way. Most soil is not, it's just deficient, right? So that's why we're going to add in certain supplements. So it helps with like hair, skin, nail, connective tissue, so many good like joint functions, so many good things with this. So if you're still wanting this and you're wanting that prebiotic factor, and you still are having a hard time with just a little bit amount of water with this, throw it into a veggie capsule and take it. Your body will break down the veggie capsule. You'll still be able to enjoy it, and you'll bypass your things. But I'm going to push back and say it's not that bad.
I use it all the time. I love it. I drink it every day, sometimes twice a day. I think it tastes fine. Good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not like, let me clarify. It's not like you're drinking fresh squeezed orange juice. Any of the, I mean, guys, it's not like eating a strawberry. But for what it is, when you're comparing like apple cider, some of them I actually do enjoy. Like I do love making the red drink. I think it tastes great. But the things that I don't think taste that great, but I know my body needs it, I just like mineral essence. I don't think it tastes great. I put it in a capsule, or I put it on my feet, or I soak in a bath. It does not touch my tongue. I don't do it. But I figured out a way to make it work, right?
Yeah. I put it in my Ningxia Red, and then I put a drop of peppermint.
Okay.
And that does it.
That'll mask anything. But the point is, you can make it work. if you need it, you find a way to get it in and bypass the taste buds and chase it with something else that you do like the flavor of. Or yes, peppermint is so strong that you can just, it'll clear up anything you got going on in there. So yes, take it in your Ningxia.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking when you were talking about like the workout and stuff, my daughter's been trying to do handstands and she's working on really getting it balanced. She must have, I was taping her, the videotaping the other day. She must have done like 30 of them. And she was like, oh my God, I am going to be in such pain tomorrow. And she drank the amino wise. And the next morning, I don't think she put two and two together, but she got up the next morning. She was like, you know, my body doesn't hurt. I'm really surprised. My body doesn't really hurt. And I'm thinking, I bet it was that.
Yeah.
Because she was going on and on and on. And like, one more time, video one more time. And she was
100%.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it is. Because when I started intentionally doing yoga again, I thought the same thing. I'm like, oh man, I'm in for a world of hurt. So I was like, let me just take this, just, you know, and I could definitely feel that I'd worked out.
Yep.
But I didn't have that overwhelming, like, I can't move my body. So that Elena is in a camp this week, an acro camp. And so yesterday I could not find my amino wise. I just sent somebody a sample of it. Who knows who did what. Cindy was nice enough to lend us a scoop of it this morning so I could give it to her, because she goes, yesterday she came home and she's like, my legs are so sore. I'm like, yes, because you used them like for more, you know, like we've been trying to get up and, you know, get walking and all this stuff, but just in general, we're not moving nearly as much as we're used to with all this going on. And so she was definitely like 3 hours of intentionally doing back bends and cartwheels and flips and handstands, like very sore. So I took the Orthosport, I took some of the CBD rub, I rubbed her legs down, I put some copaíba in her mouth, I made her that red drink to go yesterday. But when she woke up this morning, she was like, yeah, it's all sore here and like in her groin from stretching. So I borrowed some amino wise to give to her. And then going to do another little thing. So you take in the morning or before bed. Yeah. So you can either, if you're doing it for like an everyday, like a consistency thing, take it whenever you need it. If you're specifically looking for that extra boost when you're working out, do like, you can split it up and do like pre, during, post, or just pre and post, whatever you need.
I'm talking more about the sulfurzyme.
Oh, yes.
About that.
Okay.
The sulfurzyme is what I take in the morning or the evening.
Oh, I see. You're answering her question. Should it be taken between? Yeah. So I think, so if you're reading, okay, two things. If you're reading off here, it says, mix a half teaspoon with 48 ounces of juice or distilled water. Take 2 times daily, 1 hour before or after meals, is what it says on there. What I highly recommend is grabbing a supplement desk reference book. The author is Jen O'Sullivan. You can either get it from her direct website, which is like 31 Oils, or you can get it on Amazon Prime. And it goes, we have amazing, amazing supplements. And she does a great job of going through them, explaining them, going through different regimens, and then you can figure out what works best for yourself. I'm a huge believer in consistency over intensity when you're looking at a lifestyle of preventative health. And then there's different dosages of therapeutic versus preventative. So if you're coming into it saying, I've got a major problem that I'm trying to help with, you're going to start out with more of a therapeutic dose, right? To get your body back into homeostasis. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to switch into a preventative dose of like daily maintenance. So I hope that makes sense. So if I'm coming in, right? So Elena is coming to me and saying, oh my gosh, my body like is super sore. So I went and I made her a morphine balm, right? Like a little pain thing to help with the inflammation, to help. Right now we're in crisis mode. Like my body's hurting. I don't do that for her every day because she doesn't need that every day, right? Those are situational therapeutic dose. Now moving on, but okay, this week is happening, so I'm going to intentionally give her more support than I normally would in her normal preventative, just overall health thing. Does that make sense? But that book is really going to help you to figure out the hows and whens and whys. And then that consistency over intensity, you don't have to fall, like if it doesn't work in your budget to do it exactly like that, I I just am a big believer in something is better than nothing. So if you're going to do something and do it every day in a smaller amount, that's better than not doing anything and then waiting until there's a problem and being like, hey, I'm going to take the whole bottle and then like wonder why it didn't work. So, you know, when you're looking at holistic versus allopathic medicine or treatments or whatever you want to call them, it's just a different mindset.
What was the name of that book from General Supplement?
The supplement desk reference. I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, good. I was just going to do that. Go ahead.
And while I do that, if you want to talk or ask if
yeah, so I think we covered a good amount of things. We got a little sidetracked with some things, but thank you, Cindy, for showing it to us. But I think we kind of covered a lot about just taking care of ourselves out in the sun and having fun and taking care of our bodies while we're doing all that. Unless anybody has any burning question, we'll close off and stop the recording. If you want to stick around to ask any other in-depth questions, we will do that for a few minutes. But again, this is Debbie Hill and Jen Friedland, and we're with Young Living, and we're here to support you and living healthy lives, and reach out to whoever sent you here, and I'm sure they will help you continue to live a healthy lifestyle. So any questions before I close out? Doesn't look like it, so I'm gonna stop recording. We'll stick around if anybody wants to ask any questions. I do have a little tidbit to share with you from about skin damage. Sun damage afterwards. So I'm going to stop recording, and here we go. Stop recording.